What is up, Solow Sportsters? I am so excited to be here on a hot October day in Long Island to bring you a review of the Head Prestige Classic 2.0. It's a remake of the original Prestige. Let's see how they've reenacted this one, what they've done with it, how it plays on court, and fully break it down for you.
The Head Prestige Classic 2.0 is a remake racket from Head. It has a small mid-head of 93 square inches, an unstrung weight of 330 grams equaling 11.6 ounces, a swing weight of 329, putting the balance point at 12.5 inches, making it 8 points head light. It is a standard 27 inches long on an ultra-thin 19.5 millimeter beam. It has a tension range of 48 to 58 and a very flexible 61 RA stiffness. It has a dense pattern of 18 mains and 20 crosses, comes stock with head leather grip, and comes in the classic dark red burgundy color. We were on the fence as to what to string the racket up for this playtest, whether it be the older classic strings like the Racket or something newer, and we landed on Head Links Tour in Champagne. The control and feel matches the racket perfectly.
The Prestige Classic 2.0 might as well have been delivered by a time machine than a postal worker, because this is everything from the original racket 2 decades ago. There's no technology changes, there's no improvements. It's that original classic racket, which you might be dying to try or surprised that it has nothing really added. Growing up, I was always a Prestige player, and I was predominantly a baseline player, played very little doubles, and that value still holds true in this Prestige lineup. I felt like from the forehand and the backhand, I was in complete control. I had pinpoint accuracy wherever I wanted to place the ball, and I can hit totally through the court, where my opponent was always on his back heels trying to keep into the point. Being that this racket is an original, it feels like everything is untouched. I liked it from the beginning. It felt like I was refining my old self and hitting the same shots that I did decades ago. And then I noticed that I didn't like that at all. I found that over the last 10 or 20 years, I've been improving on things, adding spin to my game, and really diversifying it. And this takes you back in all the wrong ways. My margin of error has gone down. The sweet spot was impossible to find. The spin generation was non-existent. I felt myself missing shots that I haven't missed in so long, and I remember why I missed it with this racket. It's not something that I like as maybe more of a modern player who's been advancing the game little by little, but if you're that player who's looking to find your old self or maybe that classic style of play, this could be a perfect fit. The heavy weight and classic materials in this racket make it one of the worst rackets on your elbow. I started playing, and after maybe 15, 30 minutes, I started getting pain in my elbow that I haven't felt since college. It was radiating up my arm, and every shot was making it tougher and tougher. Additionally, the leather, which was normally calfskin grip on this racket, was impossible to hold. I didn't want to use an overgrip for this player review, but after a while the racket was sliding out of my hands, blisters were creating on my palms, and it really just pushes you as a player to have that ultimate fitness, and if not, you're going to pay the price with your hand and elbow and everything being in pain. The Prestige Classic 2.0 is without a doubt the hardest racket that we've reviewed on this channel. Every shot is ultimately more difficult and much more challenging. When I used it from the baseline, if I hit it just right, I might get a ball 10 miles per hour, faster, maybe 10 inches closer to a target, but the other 99% of the time, I found that I was landing the ball short, really missing the sweet spot, and struggling to keep in the point. I don't think many players will be able to handle this racket or want to change their game to what this racket offers.
This racket might have the greatest slice I've ever produced. I normally don't hit many when I play, as I prefer to keep two hands on the racket and rip, but slicing this racket was like a magnet for the baseline. The ball stayed low, glided deep, and could be used for defense or offense effortlessly. When it comes to the Prestige, you have to mention the cap grommet system. This one-of-a-kind grommet adds mass and makes all shots more solid, but they can also tend to be more difficult to string or replace. I liked this racket quite a bit at the net. That is, if I was able to find the sweet spot, which was rare. Disregarding the countless mishits that I had, the feel and stability was top. I created tons of trouble for my opponent off my volley, forcing them to hit on the rise, late, low percentage, and ultimately winning loads of points in my favor. I came to the net excited whether to finish off a rally or successfully mixing in serve and volley points, which I did at least 2 to 3 times per game in match play. If you can handle it, it's the ultimate weapon for heavy groundies, quality volleys, knifing slices, and massive serves.
In our court session today, we were able to test the Prestige Classic 2.0 as well as the latest 2023-2024 edition of the Prestige. And trying them side by side, we were able to see how much the family and the technology has grown over the years and how much it's changed. So we're going to be alluding to those differences and showing you those improvements in this video.
Overall, the Prestige Classic 2.0 had some very telling scores in our Solow Sports graded review. It's clearly not made for everyone, but a more specific audience. The ideal player for this racket is someone with classic strokes and a continental to eastern grip style. You must be physically strong to handle the extremely heavy weight, and your strokes and contact point should be quite clean to work with a tiny mid-size head. Players rated a minimum of 4.5 would be the starting point for this super demanding setup. One or two-handed backhands are a match as well. Baseliners, aggressive baseliners, all quarters, as well as serve and volleyers will feel very at home with this racket. There's almost no spin generation at all, so flat, heavy hitters are the target demographic. Similar rackets include the original Prestige Classic, which is obviously not available for sale anymore, but few current production rackets are made like this anymore. The closest would be the Head Prestige Tour, Babolat Pure Strike VS, Wilson Pro Staff RF 97, Yonex V-Core 95, or Dunlop CX 200 Tour 18x20. If you want to avoid the technology benefits and the modern swing style, as well as love nostalgia on the tennis court, then this, as the name implies, is truly a classic.
I want to start with a big thank you to Head Pen Racket Sports for giving this rare and hard to find racket and getting it to us early. There's only about 500 of them in the US, and we were fortunate to get a lot of them. So if you're interested in one, check the description. We have them available. We'd love to tell you more about this racket and other rackets, so even hit the comments, tell us what racket we should review next, and we look forward to seeing you in that next video.